Playing Fortnite on mobile is hard, and I mean really hard. There's a whopping 25 binds in this game, so I'm cooked if I only use 2 fingers. That's why so many mobile players use 2 to 8 fingers. But why does it end there? Why is 10 finger claw out of limits? Deeming it as almost impossible. So I decided to find out, and for the next 7 days I'll be using the 10 finger HUD and practicing all my mechanics and figure out if it's worth it. But first step was to set up the HUD layout, making it as optimal as possible. So my 2 thumbs will be used to move and aim around, making it the only action they do so they don't affect my movement and aim. But I also made every build and weapon slot divided into 4 different fingers so I can achieve faster mechanics. And since editing is extremely important, I gave it 2 fingers dedicated to it, one to start the edit and the other to select the tiles. I also gave him a pinky finger to jump and crouch button since I never need to press those 2 at the same time, so only leaving me with the shoot button, which I dedicated an entire finger to it. So now with my 10 finger HUD layout done, I did some free builds first. My routine consisted of aim training, 1v1s, box fight, and zone wars. But on day 1, my fighting skills were horrible. Although I could get some limbs, they were not really good. But as you can tell, this wasn't my first time on a 10 finger HUD. I already had experience using 10 fingers before, but more on that later. But on day 2 I realized something bad using this many fingers. I was going through my usual routine, but hitting shots felt harder than usual. Even with all the possible benefits 10 fingers can give, it greatly reduced my aiming skill. That is because there is too many fingers on the tablet, meaning my thumb had less room to move around. Also, my thumb was touching the screen sideways, making it more harder to control. But this isn't a problem for people who hold their tablet, since they can have their thumb flat on the screen. But on the second day, it was already noticeable by how much I improved. Now, I already had past experience using 10 fingers, and that's why my improvement was so fast. But since I had recently changed my HUD layout, I wanted to document it again. And in this clip, it shows how my thumb placement was affecting my aim. Oh, come on, I couldn't track him. So on day 3, I just kept up with my routine, free building and aim training, and hoping it's just a skill issue on the aiming problem. Yeah, it's clearly not a skill issue. But there is something I haven't addressed yet, and it is, how do I even see my screen? I mean, there's 10 fingers covering 50% of the screen. Well, I figured if I can just connect the tablet to a monitor, I'll be able to see the screen with no problem. But anyways, on this day my free rolls were getting noticeably better, and double edits were no problem for me now. Let's go! Sheesh. Though my fighting skills and zone wars were nowhere near as good as my free builds. No! And on day 4, my free builds were unrecognizable at this point. Bro, what did I just do? But my aim on the other hand was horrible. I feel like my aim just resetted it and I needed to learn it all over again. Bro, I can't hit a shot! At the same time, I was getting better at my 1v1s too. There's no way I won that. And I was already halfway through the 7 days where I'll decide whether 10 fingers is viable. And everything was looking good as of now. And on day 5 I hit the best free build of my entire career. Come on, triple edit. Another triple edit. Oh my dog, I'm popping off, bro. But the same issue remained on trying to aim. This is very hard. But even when I could pull off plays like this, it was hard to stay consistent to them. So I kept getting destroyed. Ayo, bro. Ayo, no. There's no way. There's no way I got pickaxed. I almost had him, bro. So I knew something was off about this, and I needed to get to the bottom of it. I went and asked some of the best mobile players why they don't use 10 fingers. And if you're wondering how good they are, here it is. So one pro said 10 fingers isn't efficient, with the explanation of too much going on the fingers. And almost all of them said stuff like already being used to their current setup, and there being no point or benefit of switching. But I wanted to find out for myself, so at the end of these 7 days, I would have to decide whether I'll stick to 10 fingers or downgrade to less. I was still struggling on my 1v1s, only getting an elimination here and there, with the culprit being the aiming issue. And not only that, this issue transferred into box fights, or any game mode where I needed to do a quick 180. And to say the least, this issue might be the deal breaker for this HUD, where I couldn't even comprehend how I was missing such easy shots. And it was finally the last day where I would decide if I would be sticking to 10 fingers. So when going through my routine for the last time, I thought about the pros and cons of using this many fingers, and it was hard. Now I can either give up and be known as a failure for not achieving what I've set out to accomplish, or I could keep pushing and successfully come up victorious against this so-called impossible challenge. Knowing I had already 5 months of prior experience of using 10 fingers, and multiple different HUD layouts that I've tried to make this work with, I was finally ready to make my decision. It was over. I had failed. Well, not exactly. Because of this experience, I had an idea. A HUD layout so good that winning an entire FNCS on mobile will be possible.